Hey there, everyone. I am King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon. Here we are on a Wednesday, and we're getting towards the tail end of this really cold stretch. We are going to see some warmer air by the time we head into the weekend, but we still have a very cold overnight tonight, and we have some active weather to come as we head over tomorrow and into the day on Friday as well, which we're going to talk about. Winds are going to pick up, and we're going to see additional chances of snow here in the lowlands, or at least in some locations. So let's get into that. First alert now until Friday. We've extended that another day because of some of the snow that we could see here in the lowlands yet again. Not looking like anything major, but it is going to be some spots, especially favoring our southern locations where we have the best chances of seeing maybe some of those light accumulations. Still very cold. Of course, we need that here in the lowlands to get the snowfall. Plus, the winds are going to pick up too, which is something we're going to talk about here soon. And that includes pretty much everyone here in western Washington. Now, the Cascades, that's where we could see some of those wind chills dropping below the 0-degree mark. More on that here also in a second. Let's talk about your Wednesday. How did it fare for you? Temperatures actually did rebound a little bit. Saw a lot more 40s out there. Upper 30s in Port Townsend, 39 in Bellingham, and check out some of those lows this morning. Now, Seattle, these numbers are still going to be verified by the National Weather Service, so don't take this completely as fact yet. But a lot of these numbers were below the daily records for today. Old record for Seattle, 21. Old record for Olympia, 16 for the morning. We dropped down to 12 there. 27 is the old record for Hoquiam. We dropped down to 26 there, and the old record in Quileute, 23. Looks like we dropped down to 16 degrees there. Now Bellingham looks like we didn't drop down to a record, 14 degrees. The old record was at 10, so we stayed above that, but really cold air mass in place. A lot of clear skies and really light winds, and you can check out even the numbers across the passes in the single digits. Now you factor in a little more wind, which we are going to see here tonight and into the day for tomorrow. And that's going to make it feel even colder. Sometimes, even if temperatures and wind chills are a little higher with the wind, it feels even worse. First alert here through Friday. Check out the warm-up that we have into the weekend. Mid to upper 40s, rain as opposed to seeing snow. Here for the rest of this evening and tonight, we're going to see those temperatures drop down well into the 20s yet again, but additional cloud coverage should help us out just a bit more. Did want to show you this though. Here we are at about 5, getting close to 6 o'clock, and we do have temperatures that are up by about 5 to 6 degrees across the area in comparison to at this point yesterday, which puts a lot of us still in the lower 40s. And overall, still seeing things relatively quiet. Now, as far as those winds, they're coming in at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We expect those to bring down the wind chills even more heading into the night. For many of us, we're still sitting above freezing with those numbers, but already sub-zero in Stevens Pass at 2 below. Now let's look at the radar, because not a whole lot has really changed with that. We still have that high pressure system up across Canada, and then we have this low pressure system coming in that's going to help to bring in some chances of some snow, especially once we head on into the day for tomorrow. But let's first talk about the cold weather that we have in place. Cold weather advisories in effect until noon tomorrow. Now, everywhere that you see shaded in the light blue, that's where we have the possibility of seeing some of those wind chills tonight between 15 to 25 degrees. That's above zero, thankfully. Those of us in the Cascades, or if you're heading up into the higher terrain, we could see some of those as low as 15 degrees below zero, and that's from those Snohomish County foothills and into more of those Cascade areas and on to the south. Let's talk about the winds that are going to help to create that. Right here, we have the north coast that's going to start up with a wind advisory later tonight, starting up at 10. That will last until 1 p.m. on Friday. That's a longer-lived advisory there, where we could see some of those gusts up to about 50 miles per hour. For those of us along the east side and more of the foothills, that's where we could see some of those gusts up to 50 miles per hour as well. But that starts up at 7 p.m. here on Wednesday and will last until 1 p.m. heading on into the day for Thursday. And then check this out right here. We have another winter weather advisory. You can see it doesn't really include the immediate sea level areas here. So we're talking about areas like around Seattle, Tacoma, maybe even Federal Way. We're not included in this. You can see that, which I'm circling inside those areas, not included in this winter weather advisory. Not to say that you don't see any snow falling from the sky, just not a high likelihood of seeing that accumulate, or at least up to an inch. We'll probably see maybe a coating at best with that. But outside of those areas, we'll have a better chance of seeing up to 1, maybe 2 inches of snow. It's going to be some wet, slushy stuff. But we do expect that to be generally on the higher terrain. Could be a few isolated higher totals, and the better chances of some of those totals being a bit higher will be farther south, where we have additional moisture. We'll get back to that here in just a second. I wanted to show you what's happening with the winds here. That really starts to pick up later tonight, and getting closer to midnight, those gaps coming through the Cascades, Enumclaw, Buckley, Maple Valley, getting closer to Black Diamond, North Bend. Gusts around 35, 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour in some of those spots. Seeing some of those higher numbers out towards the north coast as well, really starting to pick up. Here we are into 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I think this is where we're going to see more of the widespread wind activity happening. So late tonight and into the first half of your Thursday will be the best opportunity of seeing some of those stronger winds. And still, again, some of those gusts up around some of those numbers I mentioned before. Outside of those areas here around Puget Sound, still noticing some pretty decent winds. 15, 20, maybe even 25 miles per hour. We'll continue to see that in place until we head into the later part of your day on Thursday, and then into Thursday night, 11 p.m., seeing a lot of that beginning to taper off. Now, as far as the wind chills to go along with that, a lot of numbers in negative territory up across the Cascades. Tomorrow morning, we'll see numbers between about 15 to 25, that range we were talking about before here around Puget Sound. And then we start to see those numbers rebound a bit heading into tomorrow afternoon. More so, though, as we head into Friday, as those winds really start to let up and that air mass does begin to modify just a bit more. And then here's the snow chances right here. You can see those chances beginning to come up. Those chances will arrive as we head into the middle part of the day on Thursday. That moisture lifting northward and lifting into an air mass which is going to be very marginal around sea level, up to maybe around 200 or 300 feet, where we could see temperatures near, if not slightly above, the freezing point. The majority of what's going to fall, especially with the cold air mass in place, will be in the form of snow. So we're not going to see much mixing at this point, but could see some light accumulations with this. You'll notice that as we continue this on, that moisture kind of breaks down, it comes back. Where it holds together a bit better, that's where we'll have the better opportunity of seeing maybe those better chances of accumulations. And those better chances, again, are farther south here as you get south of Seattle as this moisture is coming on through. That will continue to work its way on by as we head into late Thursday night into early Friday morning, and then we'll notice that things do start to taper off as we head into Friday afternoon as that starts to exit its way off to the east. Now, totals with this should be between about a coating to maybe 1 or 2 inches. Olympia, slightly higher. Again, the farther south you are and the higher elevated you are, the better chances of seeing some better accumulations with that. Here's your forecast for tomorrow. We'll top off in the low 40s around Blaine at 41 degrees, 40 in Bellingham. We get up into the low 40s around Marysville, upper 30s in Clinton. Farther south you go here, King County, maybe a slightly better chance of seeing a few snowflakes out of that system to the south. That includes us over towards the Kitsap Peninsula as well, down across Pierce and Thurston counties, down across southwest interior, getting closer to the Oregon state line. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s down that way, and seeing out here over the Olympic Peninsula highs in the upper 30s to low 40s. And then for tomorrow night, or at least for tonight, we're expecting to see those temperatures more so in more of the upper 20s and lower 30s. And then here's your forecast here. Next 7-day stretch, we're going to see those temperatures start to climb, get back out of this deep cold that we've been seeing here so much of recently, and get back into the mid to upper 40s. Average high is at 50 degrees, and we start to see that just a bit more as we head into the first part of next work week, and a little bit more of that typical Pacific Northwest winter weather with more rain as opposed to snow, and more active weather as opposed to seeing the sunshine. And one more thing before I let you go. Remember, you can download our King 5 Plus app. Now, you can download it on your TV, and guess what? It's going to be free. For you, those of you who have Apple TV, Roku, or Fire TV, those are the platforms that we have it on right now. Hopefully, we'll be able to get on more platforms for you. But if you want to keep up to date on the different weather events or either news events that are going on, you want to keep in touch with that app. And, of course, keep in touch with us if you're watching us here on our website or either on YouTube. All right, everyone, take care. Make sure to dress warm and stay warm here for tonight, and keep an eye out for some of those stronger winds. Those will be breezy. Hopefully we won't be dealing with much or many power outages here as we head on into late tonight or early tomorrow. But if we do, make sure that you have a plan to keep yourself warm in your homes. All right, take care. Have a great night.